friends are having a great time. It's not face to face, it's all online. We're all in our homes, miles away. Love them like my family, what can I say? My crafting show is on, it's my time for me. Laughter, tips and tricks, this is what I need. We're here to have fun, we're all in the zone. When crafting with friends, you're never alone. Don't call or text me, it's about to begin. I've been patient, time for me to chime in. Comfy clothes on, feeling just fine. I'm busy right now, it's crafting show time. My crafting show is on, it's my time for me. Laughter, tips and tricks, this is what I need. We're here to have fun, we're all in the zone. When crafting with friends, you're never alone. The host came on, they are truly a gem. Here for the show and to chat with my friends. Chat with each other about this and that. We share ideas, wisdom, and other fun facts. My crafting show is on, it's my time for me. Laughter, tips, and
Live from the Sunshine State in Miami, Florida, here is the Gifted Crafters Morning Show with Nancy.
let's have a good time. Ooh, time to get our craft on. Ooh, time to have fun. Ooh, time to feel good.
Good morning, Gifted Crafters, and welcome back to the Gifted Crafters Morning Show. Hello out there. Good morning, good morning. Alrighty, I see all kinds of people here in the chat. Good morning from all over the place. Cameron, Montana. Awesome. Alrighty, let's see. A couple places here. North Central Texas. Awesome. Now see some of our favorites here. Welcome back again. Here from Maryland. I see Robin's Quote Basket. Heather. Let's see. 1 minute tips. Jenny. Krista. Guess who? Nancy. Hey, I remember you. You're from Teresa's Live. Hey, how are you? Nice for you to join us. Alrighty. Maryland, Michigan. Okay. Alrighty. We've got people from all over the place. Hey, Wanda from Texas. Awesome, awesome. Everyone is chiming in and joining. Hey, Jenny from San Antonio. And let's see, we've got a few others joining in there. So I'll let you guys all settle in here. And good morning. It is Monday, so we are back to another fun week. And it's exciting because today we're going to kind of finish up a project that we started on Friday. So we're going to kind of reveal what it looks like. It's all stitched out and ready to go. So I'm excited to show that to you guys. Alrighty. Good morning, Marge. Good morning. Okay. I think everyone is chiming in. So if you are tuning in for the first time, my name is Nancy with GiftsHQ, and I host these weekly live sessions. We do weekly sessions on Saturday, and we do daily sessions during the week, Monday through Friday. And we just talk about all kinds of different crafts, from sewing, knitting, crocheting, embroidery, decoupage, any kind of craft you can think of. We like to talk about it here. So again, if you're here for the first time, jump into the chat and say hello to a couple of friends that we see out there, because we love to kind of welcome in especially newcomers, and we like to share all kinds of tips, tricks, and ideas out there. So this is a very interactive session, so feel free to pop in some questions, anything that you'd like in the chat, and we'll try to grab that and answer any of those questions along the way. Alrighty, good morning, Krista, Deborah, Becky, Jenny, Lisa, Cindy, Sassy. I see all kinds of people joining in today. Alrighty, awesome. Okay, first things first, let's kind of go ahead and grab your little morning drink of whatever it is that you have in the morning. There's no judgment here. And we like to kind of start off our day. Today I am having my coffee with my milk, so café con leche. That's just kind of a favorite for me in the morning, and I like to kind of have that after my water. So we are chugging along this morning, and we've got so much to do today, so we're kind of going through some things pretty quickly. Heather's asking, did you get anything for the anniversary dinner? Yes, Heather, thanks for asking. So we did go out to dinner, and we had a nice time. It was actually not as crowded. We went a little bit later than dinner time, like maybe around 7 p.m. We got there, and I thought it was still going to be a little bit crowded, but it was actually perfect. Yes, he made me breakfast in the morning, so I did get breakfast in the morning, and then I got a really nice dinner. So I was super happy about that, and the place was not crowded. The food was really good for some reason that night. I don't know if maybe I was really hungry, right? But we had a fantastic time. My son made me a little handmade card. That was really sweet. My daughter called also. So it was nice. We had a really good time. It was nice and low key, exactly what I wanted. Kind of stayed around the house, rested a bit, and didn't do too much. Just kind of kept it low key. And then on Sunday, so Sundays are the days with my mom. So I did, thank you, guess Nancy, thank you. Yeah, it was 28 years, right? 28 years, right? Yeah, 28 years. Yeah, we got married in 1997, so that was, quite a while away. But yeah, we had a very good time, and then on Sundays, the day for my mom, so spent the day with my mom, took her to church, food shopping, all the little shops and stuff. We had a nice lunch, and, just kind of talked and chit-chatted, and, puttered around the house, helped her with a couple of things. So it was a nice weekend. It was kind of low-key, which I really love those weekends, right? Just too much chaos and there's stuff going on. The weekend before, we were running around with Herman's competition, so that gets a little crazy. But yeah, we had a very nice time. Thank you for asking. Yeah, it was a perfect day. It was. And so here we are on Monday, and we're ready to craft again, right? So let's go ahead. I know you guys got all your drinks ready, but let's get your snacks, right? So let's bring out our food truck so you guys can get your little snacks. We've got all kinds of stuff. Just make a line, no pushing, no shoving. Everyone stay on the line, okay? You're going to go ahead and you'll get your favorite snacks. We've got all kinds of things from coffee, tea, muffins. We've even got some donuts today. We also have some cookies. Of course, I have some sodas in there, croissants. And don't forget, for the healthy people out there, we've got some kale and some carrots. So go ahead and pick anything you'd like. It's calorie free. Alrighty, I'm going to grab one middle sip here. Tastes great too. Okay, so what do we have today? Like I said, we are going to be I've stitched out all 6 panels as we were looking at on Friday. It's the Haunting Autumn Scene, and this is by Urban Designs. So we have stitched out all of the 6 panels, and we're getting ready to now put all those together today. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And we still have, I kind of just left it because I wanted you guys to see the entire process. So all I did was finish stitching out all 6 of these. And then you're going to see, we're going to cut them up and we're going to kind of piece them together. And I'm going to do the little sashing that you see in between here. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the little sashing and I'm going to cut it up probably about, I'm going to do probably 1.5 inches, all the way around it. And then kind of just put them together. And we're going to see what that looks like. So we will get to that. But before we do all of that, let's go over to our next segment here because I've got quite a few things to talk about in our crafting news. So shall we? Let's go over to our crafting news and we're going to head over to over in the Tallahassee area. And you may want to stop by your city hall in the Tallahassee area, not just for some kind of paperwork, but for some patchwork. So isn't that a lot of fun? So the Quilters Unlimited Group Expedition is now on display, showcasing over 30 quilts made by 26 talented makers that are out there from the Florida Big Bend region. Now these quilts come in all kinds of styles and sizes, and they bring some really bright and some bold and quiet and thoughtful, quilts out there. Each one is stitched with a lot of care. Now, one of the quilters, her name was Janet Taylor, and she didn't even start sewing until she was retired from teaching high school. Now, she's part of a 130-member guild that not only makes art, but they also give back in some big ways. They make quilts for local veterans, tiny quilts for the NICU babies, and cozy gifts for hospice patients. They also do pet beds for shelters, and they even fidget quilts for seniors with dementia. Now, Janet says that the quilts are meant to be used, and she absolutely, loves that. And whether it's for birth or for healing or for remembrance, these fabrics gifts carry love for every season, which I thought was amazing. Now, you can get more information on that. Just go ahead and visit quilttallahassee.com on that one. Okay, so we're going to head over now to Paul's Valley in Oklahoma, and we've got one middle school teacher who is stitching together life lessons. So we have someone by the name of Chelsea Schroeder, who's a 7th grade language arts teacher, and she received a special grant called So Much Fun. And that was from the Paul's Valley Foundation of Academic Excellence. Now, instead of getting books and tablets and things like that, this grant came with sewing kits, fabrics, buttons, and even little mini handheld sewing machines. So that's pretty cool. Now her students are getting some real life learning lessons, and they're learning how to sew a button, stitch a seam, and eventually create their very own little stuffed animals. So that is so cool. And these are kind of some hands-on projects that the kids will, be able to complete. And they make little crafty, cute stuff, and they will learn these skills, and maybe even one of them will become an entrepreneur and maybe take that on to the next level, right? Isn't that amazing to kind of just open it up to the kids out there? It's teaching them patience, focus, creativity, all of those skills that you really can't get in a textbook. So that's pretty neat. So I thought that was really sweet. The kids are discovering all kinds of joys by making things with their own hands. So that is a pretty cool idea, and I think it's amazing that the kids are now able to kind of get that hands-on experience. So, alrighty, I'm going to jump over to one last story I'd like to tell you about, and I think this is pretty exciting because it's summertime out there, guys, and many of you folks are out there heading out to the beach. But did you know that there's a fun little new twist out there in beach fashion? It just might blow your mind because I thought it was pretty amazing. And it's kind of like, crossing the planet with mermaids. I thought that was pretty cool. So there's a new summer collection that is out there. And that is by And Other Stories Fashion Design. They've created a beautiful crochet beachwear that's just set with not just inspiration from the ocean, but it's made from it. So the fabric includes kelsom, and it's a seaweed-based fiber that's blended with cotton. Isn't that kind of cool? Really blows your mind. Yeah, you heard that right. I said seaweed. Isn't that amazing? Now the crochet design is soft and it's flowy, and the pattern looks like starfish and underwater flowers. That's probably the best way to describe it here. It's perfect for, you know, little stylish cover-ups that you wear at the beach, or if you want to even layer it with some jeans and do a little tank top, you know, all of that little everyday wear. Really, really cool. But it's not just about the fashion. It's about discovering creative, earth-friendly ways to make what we wear more sustainable. And for us crafters, it's just a lovely reminder, right? It really is, of between the inspiration between nature with our style and the materials that we choose to make these things. So I thought that that was pretty cool, and I wanted to kind of let you guys know about that, because you might be seeing it as you go into the beach. Alrighty, so that's what we have for our crafting news. So now we're going to kind of head over to our project, shall we? I'm going to grab one little sip here of my coffee, if you don't mind. Okay, so here we are. Again, the design is from Urban Designs, and I'm going to kind of just lay out, make sure I have enough space here. I'm going to lay out what we have here. And I'll put this over to the side as well. So here, I'm going to try to lay them out as best I can so you guys can see the whole thing. Maybe try, I'm going to overlap them just a little bit so you guys can see them. So those are the first two on the top. Move them up a little bit here. Then here comes the middle ones. I'm going to slide them underneath. So you get somewhat of an idea of what it would look like. There we go. And then the last two panels I can put down here. Can you guys see all of that? Not sure if you can see it. I know when we cut it up, you'll be able to see it better. But this is pretty much it. You can kind of get the gist of it. Let me see if I fold it here. You might be able to see it a little better. If I do a little fold. There we go. I think that looks a little better. As you can see here, you've got the three that we embroidered. And if you were not here on Friday, what we did is we went ahead and we embroidered on faux leather. And so we are using faux leather from the Dollar Tree. And this is the black color, and it comes from Crafter Square. It is a poly vinyl. You can see here, it tells you it's a poly vinyl here. And we talked about the different types of faux leather. And so on here, you can see how the three squares kind of meet up together. So this is like the tree here. And you can see, and actually I have it backwards to you. Let me flip it over. There we go. I think you guys can see that better now. Sorry about that. I forget that I'm showing it the other way. And so you'll see here's the tree. There's the trunk of the tree with the flowers. And you see the middle square is the continuation of the tree with the butterflies. And then you have the top of the tree with that little spider web. And so on the other side, you're going to have here your pumpkin. So you can leave that one there like that. You fold the top. So you've got your little pumpkin here on this end. You're going to have your little deer. And then you have the little owl on top. Just do it that way. And so that'll be the completed panel. So we're going to cut these over to size. And what I decided to do is I want to go ahead and do the sashing just like they did in the picture. As you can see here, it's got some sashing around each of the squares. And so I'm going to cut up each one of them. And I think I'm going to do about 1.5 inches outside each one. So here's 1.5 inches. This is how much we'll be cutting off here. And I'll do that all the way around it. And then what we'll do is sew them together into the big panel. Okay, and so that will be our 6 panels here. And then we'll have to decide what we're going to do on the top here. Whether we're going to do something different or we're just going to leave it with the faux leather and then do a little hanger up on the top. Okay, so that's what we're going to do right here. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Now, in order for me to sew it, I am going to be using a cotton thread. It's a, here it is. It is a black thread, so it's going to kind of go in and you won't be able to see that so much because it's going to blend right in. So I'm blending in with the color of the vinyl. So whatever color vinyl you have, whether it be a black color or a white color, just make sure that your thread color is going to match your vinyl. And then I also started to wind up some black bobbin thread as well. So we'll be using that. So I'm going to put that over to the side here. And let me put these over here as well. Okay, so let's pull these out. And we're just going to do these one by one. Okay, so let's start off with this. So when we stitched this out, we did use cutaway stabilizer. So you see that I still have that here. And so I'm going to go ahead and cut my stabilizer all the way down to my stitch line here. Okay. And I want to do that because I want the actual vinyl itself to be exposed so that when we are going ahead and stitching it together, you know, we don't have so much bulk. It's just going to be the vinyl itself getting stitched to the other piece of vinyl. None of the stabilizer will be in our way. So I'm going to grab my scissors here and I'm just going to go ahead and cut that piece off. And it's cut away. If it was tear away, we'd be able to tear it right off. But because it's cut away, you'll have to do that with the scissors and just go a little careful. If you can't get it right up to the seam, that's fine. You know, you can just do the best you can to get as close as you can. You can kind of turn it towards yourself and then just kind of cut all the way around. You could probably just leave the scissors open and glide it like this. Kind of makes it easier. And then just fold it along the seam line. That makes it a little bit easier to cut. Just make sure that you're not cutting your stitches, okay? There we go. Okay, so that kind of removes all of that stabilizer and exposes the vinyl itself, because when we sew, that's what I want to make sure that we put together is just the vinyl. I don't want to have all that extra bulk. It's going to cause issues when you're sewing it together because it's going to be thicker and more difficult to sew. Not that it can't be, it still can, but I just prefer to do less bulkage if I can and avoid all of that. Alrighty, so let's see. You can actually save some of that cutaway for another project if you like as well. So I'm just going to be cutting these and kind of setting them over to the side. And again, just kind of fold it over where that seam line is. Take your scissors and just kind of glide it or cut all the way across. I like to kind of do it this way. It makes it a little easier for me since I am left-handed. So what did you guys do over the weekend? Did anybody get any stitching done? Let me know. I'd like to know in the chat. Let me know what you guys were up to. If anyone is doing some of the projects like this one, did anybody stitch that out as well? Because they're really not, it's not too bad. I believe each one of these squares, I did them on my 5x7 hoop. and each one is sized at about 4.85 inches. So they're not these huge blocks, although you can make them bigger. You have that bigger hoop and you wanted to make the size bigger, you certainly can. I'm going to try to clean this one up just a little bit more. There we go. So let me know if you guys ended up doing any. And so this is what I have so far, and you can see it's nice and cleaned up in the back. You've got some stitches that you could kind of, them jump stitches you can trim off if you'd like. And then you'll have to also decide, you know, do you want to have some type of a backing on your panel? Since this is kind of going on the wall, it's made out of faux leather. I don't think I'm going to do a backing on this one, but you can if you wanted to. You know, you can absolutely do that if you'd like. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this one around and fold this one. Kind of get that going. I'll get it over here as well. There we are. Awesome. Lisa said she finished 6 blocks for the sewing, so for a club sew along, and cut out another project. Awesome, Lisa. You got some stitching time in there. Yeah, I kind of kept it a little low key, being it was our anniversary. I wanted to kind of just relax a little bit. So we did some of that. All right, let's see here. Almost there. And then what we're going to have left to do is cut the actual vinyl as well. 100 Proof Quilter said, I made my first By Annie bag. Oh, awesome. Yes, she's got an amazing video instructions. Made me feel like I knew what I was doing. Yes. By Annie, she's got the best bags ever. I mean, she's really amazing. Cindy says she worked on a Guild flip-flop table runner challenge. Oh, that sounds like fun, Cindy. That sounds like a lot of fun. Awesome. Yeah, but yeah, I've got, well, first I've got tons of those By Annie patterns. She's got the best videos and her instructions are really nice. I really like the soft and stable to use for my bags for that. Really, really great. I mean, she does a fantastic job on some of those. We should try to do some of those live as well, because she's got some pretty cool patterns. I did visit Sarasota Sews when I was up north, and I have a video on that, and she showed quite a number of bags on there. Hey, Teresa Louise, how are you? Yeah, so Teresa, I went to Teresa's live. She has a fantastic channel if you guys want to check her out too. Lots of fun. Thanks for joining, and good morning to you. So yeah, really, really nice. But yeah, while I was in it was a place called Sarasota Sews. She's got a really cute little store, and she had a ton of By Annie bags, and we kind of went through some of them, and they were pretty cool. So if you want to see some of the other products that that she has available, she kind of laid some of them out on a table, and we kind of went through them all. It was really a lot of fun. We had a great time with that. And I love By Annie bags. I mean, they're amazing. They're really amazing, and they stitch out fantastic. And the soft and stable, I think, is the best. So let's see here. Okay, I've got tons of cutaway here. I'm cutting off. And let's see here. Now, one thing you want to be careful when you are dealing with the faux leather, now that we're starting to get to the stitching part of it, remember we talked about the foot that we're going to be using. Let me just grab it off my machine. This is the roller foot. So you'll want to use the roller foot here. That's a great way to stitch with faux leather. The other foot that you can use, And this was in the Madame Soul presser foot set. Let me see if I can just grab it here. Comes with a little CD as well. But I think it's amazing. It's 32 different presser feet that you can get. And from there, she's also has the little Teflon foot, or as she calls it, what's the name? The non-stick foot, which is pretty much known as the Teflon foot for a lot of sewers that are out there. So these are the two different feet that I would recommend you sew your faux leather with. I've done the Teflon foot before, also with vinyl. I can also use a little bit of tissue paper to kind of glide it through my machine, because when I was working with that plasticky vinyl, that clear vinyl, it would get stuck on the bottom of my machine. So I used just a piece of that tissue paper that allowed it to just kind of glide through the machine along with the Teflon foot, and I was able to sew it no issues. And then once you're done sewing, you just tear off the tissue paper, comes right off. It's like you didn't even use it. So it makes a great way to kind of sew that together. So these are the two different feet that you could use while you are kind of sewing together your vinyl. I'm going to be using the roller foot today because I've done the Teflon foot before. So I'm going to use the roller foot. And we've kind of already tested that out. I think it was on Friday, so I think we're good to go. I really like the way it just kind of rolls, and it kind of acts like a walking foot. So it's kind of something that you can use as an alternative to a walking foot, because it does have the roller on the top and two tiny little rollers on the bottom. So you can see that a little bit here. So it just makes it really nice and easy to work with. It also has a little bit of an open toe in the front. So if you are looking to do something with some decorative stitches, you have that space available in the front to be able to do that. So that's really great because it does help out with that. Okay, I think we've got one more vinyl to go. One more piece here. And let's go ahead and cut this. Okay, now if you're just joining, I'm just cutting away the stabilizer only for right now. And so I'm just folding over on the seam line and just trying to get the majority of that stabilizer without popping my stitches here. Okay, so just fold it along the seam line and glide your scissors right across. Should be relatively easy to do. Okay, I think we're just about done. There we go. Okay, so got all this extra cutaway. You can save this and use it for another project. All right, so now that we have all of our panels all cut with the stabilizer out of the way, we're going to go ahead and trim off the size that we want. Now again, in the pattern, they do have it laid out with that sashing going across. So we're going to go ahead and do it that way as well. And I'm going to do about 1.5 inches. So what I'm going to use is my ruler, and I'm going to use the ruler guidelines here to line up this stitch line here. And I'm going to line that up with my ruler 1.5 inches away. And I'm going to do that on all 4 sides. If you have a ruler that you can kind of use to just get all 4 sides at one time, you could do that too. But I don't have one of those that kind of was able to get all 4 sides. So I'm just going to kind of line it up here. So again, I'm 1.5 inches away. And why am I doing 1.5 inches? Well, I know when I sew this together, I'm going to be eating up a 1/4 inch seam allowance here and probably another 1/4 inch the other way, right? Because we may do that when we sew these all together. So I just want to have a nice enough sashing where I don't want it to be way too close together. I think that's going to be a nice chunk amount that you'll have that little break in between the panels. So let's do that. I'm going to have my, let me move this over here. I've got this all lined up. I've got my ruler lined up here. I've got my line. My 1.5 inch line is lined up with the blue line here on the opposite side. So we've got this lined up nice and straight. And I do have a little film on the back of my ruler that prevents it from slipping. So that helps as well. I also have a magnet underneath my cutting mat. It's aluminum. And when I put my little magnets on, it will help keep my ruler down to prevent it from slipping as well. And then you're just going to go ahead and take your rotary cutter, and we're just going to go ahead and cut that piece off. And it should come off nice and easy. Very easy to cut with your rotary cutter. Okay, remember this is a polyvinyl. Okay, so now we're just going to pick that up. Going to flip it over here. Again, 1.5 inches. Go ahead and line it up. And you have that nice solid blue line, so it makes it a little easy for you to be able to see it. And then go ahead and make that cut. And it's nice that because it's vinyl and I have this film in the back, and I'll show you that here. You have this film. See that film right here? Kind of lifting it up a little bit, if you guys can see that. This is a film that you can get, that you can put on the back of your ruler, and it'll help it from slipping. So it's just something that I like to put on the back of my rulers. Some of them I have the film. The other thing you can get are the little circles that you can put, but I sometimes don't like to do that one, because it just kind of gets in my way sometimes. So on some rulers I do have the film, and others I have the little circles where it kind of helps. But then I got my magnets as well. So I use all kinds of different things to kind of help me to make sure that my ruler stays straight. So there's not any one method. There's several different things that you can use. Just use what's comfortable for you. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my magnets down. Hold that down. Now I prefer, if you are doing this at home, stand up and kind of look over your ruler. I can't do that because I don't want my head to be in the way for you guys to be able to see, but I prefer to stand up and kind of be able to really see over to make sure that you are nice and lined up. Okay, and we're going to do last side here. 1.5. I have a little bit of a glare, so pretty much there. Let's do our magnets. You don't want it to slip on you, and just do a firm grip when you are holding it down firmly, and you're pushing down, not sideways. You're not cutting like this, and you're not cutting like this. Try not to tilt the rotary cutter, because that will lead for you to have a bad cut. If you're cutting this way, you're cutting into your faux leather or your fabric, whatever it is that you're cutting. And if you're cutting this way at an angle, you're actually leaving probably 1/8 of an inch extra on there. So make sure that you're cutting nice and straight down. Just give it a little bit of pressure and then take it all the way across. Okay, make sure that you follow those steps if you want to get a nice clean cut. So here we are. Here's our first panel ready to go. And we're going to go ahead and repeat this now for all of the other ones. So I'm going to, let me stick this on this side. What's that film called? What is that film called? Let me think here. What was the name of this one? I may have it. Let me just check. Did I run out of that? I think I did. I'll have to get you the name, Evelyn. I don't recall it right off the bat. I did get it at Joann's, but I know that they have it on Amazon as well. I would just search for no slip film. I believe, I want to say it was by OmniGuard, but I can't remember the name right off the bat. Sorry. I'll see if I can look it up, and I'll try to put it on Facebook to see if I find it. And I'll put it on our Facebook group, because I don't recall the name right off the bat, off the top of my head. But I know it was OmniGuard. I know you could get it on Amazon. But I would just try searching for that. But if I find it, I'll put it on our Facebook page so that you guys will have it. And then I'll add it to the Amazon shop. And I'll let you guys know tomorrow. Because I don't remember right off the bat. The memory, it just goes, right? It's just going. Okay, so let's go with our next one. And guys, Evelyn has an Instagram, and she does amazing items also. So check her out as well, because she does some pretty amazing stuff, beautiful items that she has on her Instagram. So check her out. Okay, let's see. So you guys are just chatting away. Oh, you found it on Amazon, Honey Sew. Okay, Honey Sew non-slip grip roll. That may be another one. Yeah, there's a lot of different brands out there. I think the one that I got, because I remember purchasing it at Joann's, but this was kind of many years ago. So, you know, I'm sure there's all kinds of different brands. I just happened to be there, and that's the one that I picked up. But I can't remember the name, and I think I had ran out because I was kind of going through all of my rulers. I tried to do them all at once, and I didn't, and so I had all this left over. You know, and as you buy more rulers, you kind of like to add that non-slip stuff because it really does help. Anything to prevent your ruler from slipping, right? Because that's a thing. Okay, we're moving right along. And guys, you know, all these extra pieces that you have here, you can use this for another project. You know, now remember, when I was embroidering this, I just did it right in the middle because I wasn't sure how this was going to come out. But if I kind of already stitched it out already, I probably would have adjusted it on my hoop, so I would have been able to save even more vinyl around it, like bigger chunks. So you could do that also. Here we go. We're moving right along. I'm hoping we're going to get all of our pieces done. And then we'll be ready to just sew them together. There's another panel, and I think we did this side already. Yep, we did. Okay, so we've got our first two here. So there we go. Now, it's not going to be this big because we're going to be sewing these, so they're going to lose about a 1/4 inch each on each side. So it'll be a little bit like that, which I'm good with. If you wanted your panels to be closer together, you know, then you have to, I did 1.5 inch, so maybe do 1 1/4 or just do 1 inch, you know, depending how closely you want them together. But this is what the first two look like so far, and these will be up on the top. So now let's kind of keep going here and working the sides. Let me move this out of the way. I definitely don't want to cut that by mistake. And I'm going to line this up. I do love that we have this really bright blue line to kind of line up with. Makes it so easy. So easy to see. And easy to just kind of cut there. And then you just cut it and rotate it and line it up again, and you'll be done in no time. I mean, this is really pretty simple. Once you've gotten your embroidery done, it's just cutting off that stabilizer so it's out of your way, and then cutting and deciding, you know, when you're looking at the panels, you know, how far apart you want them to be, and then just go ahead and cut your vinyl to the side you decided on. And it's always good to go bigger if you're not quite sure. So if you're not sure, you know, cut it a little bit bigger and then test it out, just like I did here. I kind of just lined it up. I know I'm going to lose a 1/4 inch seam on either one. So, you know, if that you don't like that look, now would be the time to be able to change that. And I think we're on our last side here. 1.5 inch. Cutting that piece. There we go. There's our second one. I'll just kind of leave it on top here, and let me just grab the next one. Oh boy, we are running low on time, and I wanted to get these cut out, so let's try to speed it up here. And some of these I didn't center them onto the actual vinyl. So it's not, you know, the cuts on here are not going to be exact strips because I wasn't really lining them up. I was just kind of laying them, which is totally fine because I knew we were going to trim them off anyway. So it really didn't matter. Okay, 1.5. There we go. Magnets and cut. And then I'm going to grab this, rotate it one more time, line that up 1.5, put my magnets down, and go ahead and cut. Okay, here's another one, all done. You can see what that's going to look like. So let's see how it's starting to come together here. Okay, that's what it's looking like so far. Move that down a little bit. Now we've got the last two. Last two panels to cut. Here we are. Yep. Here we go. Lining up right on that blue line. Here we go. And I'm sure I can find a project with all of this vinyl. I'm sure. Can you imagine doing a little quilt with them? You know, just cutting them up into maybe, I think 2.5 squares would be too big. So maybe 1.5 inch squares and just like quilting with that. And then just kind of using different color vinyl. How cool would that be? Right? Instead of doing it with fabric, that would be pretty cool. You can kind of experiment with that. There we go. We're moving right along here. Okay. So we will be all set for tomorrow to sew these together. And I just may think of another little project to do with the other pieces. Yep, okay. So here's this other one here. Faker McFake said, where did you get the vinyl from? Not sure if someone asked. So the vinyl is actually from the Dollar Tree. Yes, Dollar Tree, guys. It's still $1.25 at my Dollar Tree. Not sure about some of the others. But this one is Crafter Square vinyl. It's faux leather. And it is again, this is a poly vinyl. All right, so make sure you check out the contents here. It's a poly vinyl here. So super thin and easy to sew with. Key fobs within the leftovers. Yep. definitely you can make some key fobs with this. Absolutely. That would be a lot of fun. And you know, all of this, it will not go to waste. We will find something to do with it, I am sure. But yeah, the faux leather is actually from Dollar Tree, so lots of fun. Mr. H, you're cracking me up. Oh boy, what's going on in the chat there? You got some fun stuff going on over there with the hubby. Okay, don't know what he's doing. Nice for a purse. Yes, absolutely, it would be. So yeah, you guys got some conversations going on, and I can just imagine what he is talking about. I forgot my magnets on that one. But yeah, he's always got something to say. Very opinionated. Alrighty, let's see here. Lined up with my blue line. So I know I had a good time for my anniversary dinner, and I think he did too. But yeah, it's a nice vinyl, Evelyn. It is a nice vinyl to sew with. I find it, you know, it's a poly vinyl, and it just is pretty easy on the sewing machine versus that clear vinyl that you see on like some bags and things. This one to me felt so much easier to work with. And it's just really, it's soft, it's pliable. You can try to kind of finger press it and things, like it'll kind of keep its shape as you go along. Just remember, guys, you cannot iron on this directly. If you're ironing, my advice when you're going to iron any type of a vinyl is first you would do so from the back side, not from the front side. And you would use a pressing cloth, no steam. Okay? So make sure you iron from the back side here with a pressing cloth on top. No steam on there. Okay, I think we've got them all cut up and ready to go. So let's lay these out. And I think I've kind of mixed up the order, but let's see how I do here. I'm gonna face it towards you. Here we go. See if I can get this in the right place here. Let's see, we've got this one that goes next to it. It was going the other way. There we go, this way. So those are the first two. Let's see, then we've got the deer and the butterflies. Scoot that over. And then we've got the pumpkin and the little butterflies along the tree trunk. So here is our panel. Let me see if I can move this so you guys can see the whole thing. Kind of, sort of. And that's what it looks like. Whoops. I misaligned it there, but that's okay. So that is our panel. Okay, and that's what it's going to look like. Now all we have to do is start sewing these together, and then sew. I'm going to sew these three, and then we're going to sew these two all together, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do with the topping. And like I said, I don't think I'm going to do a backer on this one. I think I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Alrighty, we just have a couple of minutes, so let's move over to our inspirational quote of the day. Okay, so for today's inspirational quote of the day, we have: trying new things and techniques opens the door to growth, possibility, and more joy than you imagined. And isn't that amazing? It's so, so true. You always have to try new things, new techniques, whether it be a new design or a new fabric or anything like that. Scrapping Like a Lady, this is actually from Urban Designs. And it's called Haunting Autumn Scene. So yeah, really, really cool. So we tried a new design. We tried a new fabric to do the design on, and it was a lot of fun. And we were able to kind of put these together Now it's just a matter of sewing these together to make the full panel. And I may decide to do something up on the top a little different. Not quite sure yet, so we'll see what we can come up with on that one. So that's it, guys. That's all I have for you. I hope you really enjoyed today's project. I think it's a lot of fun, and be sure to try something out new and exciting for yourself and post it on our Facebook group because I'd love to see what you guys do. Alrighty, awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining. Go ahead and tune in. We've got to support some of our other YouTubers out there, and I believe that Becky from Tap Power Tools with Threads will be coming on any moment. So let's go ahead and give her some support. Thanks for joining, everyone. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I hope to be crafting with you soon. Bye, everyone.
So long for now, so long. Glad you stayed a while. Hope you liked my crafting style. Hope I left you with a smile. By now, keep your mind and space clutter-free. Hope your day is bright as can be. So long, my friends, till we craft once again. Bye now, stay crafting. See you tomorrow. So long, my friends, till we craft once again.